it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that would be the expected way to go about it. And when you first talked about the tale, that seems to have been where you were initially planning it. But it reminds me sort of that Ed Gein poem that you wrote on the spot, in the sense that if you think of an Ed Gein poem, you would think of seeing skulls and him having all these skulls around him. But instead, you have it as more of a Vermeer portrait, and then it gets into ideas like the final lines about the mellifluous morning or night or what have you. That those type of touches already put you in unfamiliar ground, and then allow you to add a bunch of other unexpected twists and interesting observations throughout it. So, and it begins here too. This Landon play with him writing some piece of shit with such immortal lines as "turds become poems," and then saying "fuck it" and monologuing on about his plight. And I think the basic setup is that he was talking with Zinn and Paul, and that led him to you.
Yeah. So in the previous plays, there's the character that's based on you called Paul Idle, who appeared in an earlier play, and then there's the Chin Jiang, who's this real life kid from Singapore who's written a few dozen essays on me over the last couple of years. And so I call him Zinn, and he appears brief. He's mentioned. This is, I think, the second play he's mentioned in, and then he has a brief appearance in the She and Not the Sea play, which is about Danny possibly having a daughter he never found out about, which again is totally fictitious. I mean, I could have a kid out there that I don't know about, but it's just made up for that play. And so I figured, well, since a number of the people that have contacted me have said that, oh, they knew or they had first contacted so-and-so on the E-list and they got them into reading my stuff and whatnot. I said, well, that would be a natural way to have it. So have Zinn and Paul, this kid suddenly gets into their circle somehow, and then he starts reading Danny Wagner, and then he decides he's going to send off some poems to Danny Wagner. And then it's like, oh,